Hello again, I am Blunty, and today I'm breaking down a DSLR shooter for starter photographers looking to get more serious, and budget-conscious snappers wanting power with the puniest possible punch to their wallet. And it's this, the Pentax K30. So, what makes it a good choice for an entry-level DSLR, and are there any catches and gotchas? Well, let me break it down for you. With the K30 you get a 16 megapixel APS-C sensor in a toughened, weather-sealed DSLR, and this by the way is a real exciting feature because before now a weather-sealed DSLR was the province of much more expensive gear. I can't say I love the design much. I mean, the shape is nice, and in fact it's quite comfortable, and the control layout isn't bad. The tough polycarbonate and rubber body is wrapped around a metal frame and it feels extremely durable, and the deep grip feels very secure. It's got more heft than most entry-level DSLRs, which often feel decidedly plasticky. I don't mean it's particularly heavy, it's just that you certainly notice how solid it feels. But it's a bit of a mishmash of materials and textures all over. There's no sense of stylistic homogeny. It's like a Frankenstein's monster of a design. It literally looks like the body was built from bits of other cameras. Aside from weirding me out with its Frankenstein's looks, it's function that really matters after all. This is a tool and not a fashion accessory for wannabes and posers. So even if it is as hideous as Jessica Parker after a hideous horse trailer fire, as long as it keeps out of the way and gives me the fast, easy and accurate control I need from a DSLR to create nice looking photos, I'm happy. And I'm very happy with it on that score. It's got everything you need on a DSLR for serious shooting. All the modes are there of course, including a couple of very handy dial positions set aside exclusively for getting to carefully crafted custom settings very quickly indeed. The buttons feel nicely tactile and the twin control wheels are very responsive and well placed. And shooting in full manual mode is very fast and easy, especially compared to some of its low to mid-range competition where full manual can easily get a bit clumsy. The info display on the screen is extremely well designed, showing all the essential settings very clearly in an easy to understand way, and the display itself is crisp, clear, easy to read outdoors, very bright and vivid, and in live image mode it updates nice and smoothly. In a bold step of if it ain't broke, don't fix it, the menus are familiar Pentax flair. It's a very clear and easy to navigate system, where even the greenest of greenhorns won't need to worry about getting confused and lost and buried in submenus. And all the cool tricks from the higher end Pentax gear is still found here too, like multi-exposure, interval shooting and automatic HDR modes. The automatic HDR works very nicely too. You can of course get better results if you shoot multi-exposure and craft your own HDR and tone mapping on the computer with editing software and get all fiddly with it, but you'll get to that as you build up skill and ability. The K30 is designed to help get you there by giving you the tools you need to advance your skill set. But it's nice knowing that even if this is the very first DSLR you've ever laid your hands on, it can generate a pretty smooth HDR for you so you can play and experiment to your heart's content. The sensor in the K30 is very impressive. I took it out for some pre-dawn low light shooting, and in truth I was expecting some fairly average, probably grainy and noisy shots. I mean, after all, this is a lower end bit of kit and I was shooting with the kit lens. But I was wrong. So very wrong. Shot after shot I was greeted with a very pleasing set of results. Colour was rich and smoothly rendered tones, and contrast was crisp without being harsh, and there was very little noise to be found at all. Bring it back to black and white and you can see the wonderful tonality and dynamic range are presented very nicely. In fact, dynamic range was quite impressive in all conditions, even against the sky, at a right angle to direct low-angle morning sun. Both the bright clouds and the shadowed face here retained plenty of detail. On that note, with the context that I was shooting with the cheapest kit, which has a basic 18 to 55mm f3.5 to 5.6 lens, detail and sharpness aren't as impressive generally. But if you take a quick look around online, you'll easily find shots from the K30 with much better glass slapped on the front that render very sharply indeed with fine hairline detail. So, as is usually the case, the camera body outperforms the kit lens significantly, and frankly that's the way it should be. This isn't to say the lowest end kit lens is bad. It isn't. It's a very useful zoom lens in a very useful focal length range that lends itself very well to learners. But it is an inexpensive kit lens, so it can be a little bit soft and it does get a little bit chromatic aberration-y in some conditions. There is a slightly more expensive kit that comes with an 18 to 135mm lens, which unlike the basic model is also weather sealed to match the body. Continuous shooting is very capable, snapping off between 6 and 7 frames per second, and it'll keep that up for around 50 frames before the buffer needs to clear. This is significantly more than I'm used to seeing from cameras at this level. The 11-point autofocus system was very reliable, reasonably quick, but not what I'd call fast by today's standards, and the basic kit lens makes a hell of a whirring noise while it's focusing too. Most of the time this is nothing more than a minor annoyance, but it means terrible things for your audio in video mode. And in its video mode, the K30 will suck in 1080p video at 24, 25 or 30 frames per second, and additional 50p and 60p settings in 720p mode. And of course you can go full manual control in video mode if you like. But overall the video performance isn't going to blow you away, and it's mainly down to the in-camera processing and kinda heavy-handed compression. Detail can sometimes get a bit muddied and motion isn't rendered as smoothly as it could be, but still, its ability to maintain dynamic range, holding the highlights without crushing the shadows is quite impressive. You also get proper manual control over audio levels too, which still too many manufacturers leave out of their video modes. Unfortunately, there's no port for an external microphone, so while the onboard mic is okay and you can control the levels and everything, an external mic and separate recording device are highly recommended if you really need good on-site audio. There's also no autofocus in video, but you can ask it to reacquire set focus with a half press of the shutter button. This can be a bit slow, and with noisy lenses like the kit lens, it's certainly going to make you sound like there's an hydraulically powered battle robot somewhere off screen. So be aware and use it carefully. In low light, in vast contrast to its performance in stills mode under the same conditions, it is less impressive in video mode. The ISO gets capped at just 3200 for video to try and limit how much noise is generated, but a lot of it still makes it in. To be honest, most cameras would struggle here. This is a pre-dawn shoot, but this extreme example does highlight the noise that can creep in when pushing it in low light conditions, especially with the rather slow kit lens. Video has never really been Pentax's strongest suit, but with the K30 it's clear they have improved significantly. It's still not on par with the likes of Nikon or Canon, but for general use the K30 is quite capable, and for YouTube videos, vlogs and product reviews and the like, videos very much like this one as a matter of fact, it'd serve quite well. And there is one video application that the K30 does exceptionally well, and it's time-lapse, thanks to its excellent stills performance tied with the built-in and very easy-to-use intervalometer. Getting lovely time-lapse stuff is an absolute doddle on this camera. To cap it all off, the K30 is a superb performer at a much more budget-friendly price than you might expect from its feature set. Between the image quality, the level of control, the great set of built-in features like HDR, interval shooting, and the weather sealing, it's very hard to think of a DSLR that offers better bang for your buck. The value for money here is just hard to match. And please don't ask me for pricing, just spend the 3 goddamn seconds it takes to Google it. Prices on camera gear tends to fluctuate over time and currency and geography, far too much for me to be able to give you an accurate number forever frozen in time on this video, which is why I don't do it. Just Google it. And if you do buy, I'd probably recommend springing for the slightly pricier kit, as the lens has a longer zoom range and weather sealing to match your weather sealed body. But if your budget is real tight, you can certainly get some real nice stuff done with the basic kit as you save up for better lenses. As I said, I was shooting with the basic kit and I'm pretty damn pleased with many of the shots I came away with. Thanks for watching, I am Blunty, and I'll catch you next time.